So falling in love with strangers is really quite a phenomenon, and it's being sold to us by romantic comedies and all kinds of movies. We love to see this because people meet and they're passionately in love and they live happily ever after. And it took me a while to realize that's the movie shorthand, because it would be really boring to watch 9 months of people learning how to love each other. So they compact it for us, and then we've learned through that compaction of storytelling that that's what we ought to expect. So the more that we feel that falling in love hormonal chemistry, the more this person looks like the cultural ideal, then we fall in love with strangers, and then we are really surprised and disappointed that this person is an actual human being.
Those swiping apps are the same thing. It's like instant like, no. Instant like, no. It's that simple.
Exactly.
It's not real.
So we think these are the strangers I could fall in love with.
Yeah.
At least it takes 96 minutes on the big screen.
Now it's on the second.
So I'll see this a lot with people coming in with relationship problems is, how soon did you decide that this was a person to get involved with? Well, I could tell right away. A lot of people say this and are proud of it. I can tell right away. Have you heard this? Maybe you've said it. I used to say it, and I hear people say it all the time. They're very proud of the fact they can tell right away whether this is a good person for them or not. Falling in love with strangers. So we can watch ourselves as we continue to learn how to date and move towards meeting someone, how quickly we decide whether I can fall in love with this stranger or not. Okay? This also ties in with believing the conventional ideas about who is lovable, because we decide that the icing on the cake tells us whether this is a lovable person or not. I have felt for this one for years. Okay, so as Karina was saying, this person looks like a person that would be lovable according to what I'm being sold. So therefore, they must be the person I'm looking for.
And also that they're able to love back. We assume if they look right, that they can also love us in return.
That they're going to give us that love that we've been looking for because of the way that they look, act, squawk, and talk. And I really knew I was making progress when I went out with Greg gone. What did he say?
He said, yeah, he's gone.
I went out with probably the best looking guy I've ever been out with. He had like, I don't know, a couple $1,000 suit. He had some big. He was dropping names of all these celebrities, blah, blah, blah. Then he goes and works at their house or whatever, and I was late. And I really liked this guy. I knew I was making progress, and I said to him, I just think your energy is a little bit strong for me. He was like, what? And I knew then that I'd broken that spell, that cultural trance of who I'm supposed to be attracted to. It really felt liberating. It really felt like I was coming into my own decisions about who was attractive to me. Exactly. And so you'll hear this amongst girlfriends, probably guys too. As you come, how was your date last night? Oh, this guy, this one I'm in.
This is the one.
Yeah.
This is the one I've been looking for.
That's great.
How do you know that after one date?
Because they look like a guy in a movie.
Yeah.
Because you got the rush. And if we meet a being that even resembles this, people feel like they've fallen in love with that person, and they haven't taken the time to get to know them. But he's so great, but I'll never meet someone that great again. But this is the dream person. This is the dream girl. She looks so good. And the person has already made an internal decision that this is the person I want to be with. And 3 months later, 6 months later, 4 or 5 years later, realizes that's not who this person is. So we have a lot of us, we think that's not me. But when we actually look back in our histories, we go, oh, I just fell in love with that stranger. We love that feeling, right? We get that rush, we get that high, we get that chemical attraction. And then we find out we've actually given our heart, sometimes our commitment, to someone that might be an axe murderer. We don't know yet. So a little rule of thumb I use for this, I thought of this because I used to work in the corporate world, and you know, you're always on probation for 90 days because they figure anyone can act good for 90 days, but by 90 days, the warts are going to come out, and you're going to know whether or not you want to keep that person for your company or not. So I think kind of in the dating world, it's kind of a rule of thumb that I thought of for myself, which is, okay, this person seems fine, having a good time, feels great, looks right, whatever. Let's wait for 90 days at least to see if this person is a psychopath.
Which is not a match.
Yeah,
It's a spectrum.
Yeah, it's a spectrum.
Okay, just obviously I'm exaggerating, but I'm just trying to say that people can, we're all taught how to hide that stuff, and we should, but it's like this falling in love with strangers is causing a lot of mistakes in dating.
There's a question about that because I feel like I missed the memo because there's been however many gazillion years of people meeting through magic, and then in the last however many years it's been with apps and online dating and stuff like that, like now we have to not believe in magic and do the apps.
I don't believe it was magic, okay? People lived in small communities where they kind of mingled in with each other. You kind of knew who people were. You know, if you met Ben, it's because he was Carol's cousin, and he works over there at the plant, and there were ways to meet people, like in college, where you would see people over and over. You could kind of get a sense of them. You kind of got a sense of how they belonged in the community, if they were the ne'er-do-well, or if they were on an upward track in their life, or what was going on. That maybe looked more like magic, but it wasn't. It was a process of people's energies connecting with each other. There also didn't used to be. There was definitely not this focus on appearance in the same way there is now. There was like the prettiest one in the tribe and the best looking guy in the tribe. They probably got together, and everybody else was with someone else. And it wasn't such a big deal. But now everyone's looking for the same person, and what about the rest of us? I mean, this is a good looking crowd, but you know, there's no Brad Pitt here, and there's no Angelina Jolie.
Greg looks like Brad Pitt.
What?
Greg looks like Brad Pitt.
Yeah, we're getting what?
So,
And they couldn't make it work either.
Great point.
so a lot has changed from when it appeared to be more like magic, which I don't believe it ever was. Now, some of us had those kind of magical experiences. They didn't usually work out, so we always kind of cling to that. I want to meet that person where it's like, ah. But for most of us, we're still here because that didn't work out.